Everyone at school thought she was invisible, just the quiet black girl who kept to herself. But when the bully started tormenting her at lunch, no one expected what happened next. In a sudden, unbelievable moment, she revealed a skill that stunned the entire cafeteria, yet that was only the beginning. What she did next exposed a secret no one could imagine, a truth so powerful it changed everything and left the whole school speechless. Nobody saw it coming. The lunchroom was alive with its usual noisy chaos, students laughing loudly, chatting in clusters, and rushing to find a seat before the bell rang. Maya, a quiet black girl, sat alone at a small table in the corner. She had long grown accustomed to staying invisible in this sea of noise, blending into the background like a shadow no one really saw. It wasn't that she wanted to be invisible, it was just safer that way. School had never been easy for her. For years, she had been the target of whispers, exclusion, and occasional cruelty, but today, something felt different. Today, a storm was brewing. Derek was a bully known across the school, not just for his size but for the way he ruled the cafeteria with fear and mockery. Whenever he passed by, students fell silent or looked away, afraid of becoming his next target. Maya had managed to avoid his wrath for a long time, but today, he zeroed in on her. With a smug grin and a swagger that demanded attention, he approached her table, his eyes locked on hers. "Hey, Maya," he sneered, his voice loud enough to silence nearby tables. "Why do you always sit here alone? Scared no one wants to hang out with you?" His words cut through the noise, sharp and cruel. The students around them shifted uncomfortably, some snickering while others looked away, unwilling to get involved. Maya's heart pounded, but she refused to show fear. She kept her gaze steady and said nothing. Derek wasn't done. With a sudden, violent motion, he shoved her lunch tray to the floor, sending food scattering everywhere. The cafeteria went dead silent. Everyone waited to see how Maya would react. Would she cry, scream, or run away? Instead, something inside her shifted. Slowly, deliberately, she stood up, her posture straight and steady. The tension in the room thickened. Maya's voice, low but steady, broke the silence. "You think this is funny, Derek? You have no idea what I've been through." Her words carried weight, more than anyone expected. Without warning, Maya shifted into a martial arts stance that stunned the entire cafeteria. Her movements were precise, powerful, and controlled. With a calm fierceness, she blocked Derek's next aggressive move with ease. The crowd gasped, caught between shock and awe. Derek stumbled back, clearly shaken. For the first time, his arrogance faltered. But this moment was just the surface of something much deeper. Behind Maya's calm exterior was a story few knew, a story of pain, resilience, and hidden strength. Her fight wasn't just about standing up to a bully. It was a battle to reclaim her dignity and prove to the world, and to herself, that she was far stronger than anyone could imagine. As the lunch bell rang and the room slowly returned to normal, all eyes remained on Maya. Something fundamental had changed. Not just in her, but in everyone who had witnessed that moment. Maya had shattered the silence, and nothing would ever be the same again. The aftermath of the lunchroom showdown spread quickly through the school, sparking whispers and wide-eyed conversations in every hallway. Maya's unexpected courage had left an impression far beyond the walls of the cafeteria. Most students had always seen her as quiet and withdrawn, someone to overlook, but now the air was thick with questions. Who was this girl who could silence Derek with just her presence? What secrets lay beneath that calm exterior? Maya returned home that afternoon to a silence that felt heavier than usual. The small apartment she shared with her mother was dim and filled with the kind of quiet that made her feel both safe and lonely. Her thoughts were a storm, churning with everything that had happened. She knew that standing up to Derek had been only the start, a spark igniting a fire within her. But there was more. Much more. As she sat at the kitchen table, Maya's fingers absent-mindedly traced the edge of a worn photograph resting beside her plate. It was a picture of her and her father when she was just a child, a rare glimpse of happiness in an otherwise difficult past. Her father, a man who had always seemed quiet and reserved, had taught her the martial arts moves she had used to shock the school. But that was only part of the story, one she had never fully understood until now. That night, after everyone else had gone to bed, Maya's mother pulled her aside. Her voice trembled as she spoke, revealing a truth that had been kept hidden for years. Your father wasn't just a martial arts instructor, she whispered. He was part of something dangerous. Something that forced him to protect you in ways you couldn't understand. Maya's heart hammered as the weight of her mother's words sank in. The next day at school, Maya noticed she wasn't alone in her struggle. Other students who had faced bullying or hardship approached her quietly, seeking comfort or simply wanting to stand by her side. The cafeteria, once a place of isolation, began to feel less daunting. But there were still shadows lurking. Derek's bruised pride made him even more unpredictable, and the strange glances Maya caught from unknown faces only deepened the mystery surrounding her. Her father's legacy was no longer just a set of moves she could execute flawlessly. It was a key to understanding a past full of secrets and threats. Maya realized that her fight with Derek was part of something much bigger, a puzzle she was only beginning to piece together. Every step she took now felt heavier with purpose. She was no longer just a victim or a quiet girl trying to survive. She was becoming a warrior in her own right, ready to face the challenges that awaited, both seen and unseen. By the time the third week rolled around, Maya's life had become a whirlwind of unexpected revelations and quiet fears. The whispers about her courage had spread beyond the school halls, reaching ears she never expected. But what frightened her most wasn't the gossip, it was the creeping sense that someone was watching her every move. It started subtly. A shadow that flickered just out of sight when she looked up. An unfamiliar car parked a little too long near her school. Messages left unanswered and strange phone calls that stopped as soon as she picked up. At first, Maya thought it was paranoia. But then came the envelope, plain, unmarked, slipped under her apartment door when she returned one afternoon. Inside was a single word, written in hurried, almost desperate script, remember. Along with it, a faded photograph tumbled out, Maya as a child, standing beside a man whose face was partially obscured by shadow. Her father. The back of the photo bore a chilling note, protect her at all costs. They are watching. Maya's hands trembled as she stared at the message, a cold knot tightening in her stomach. Who were they? And what danger had her father been trying to shield her from? The pieces of her past began to shift, revealing shadows she had long tried to forget. The martial arts lessons, the quiet training, the whispered warnings from her mother, all made sense now in a terrifying new light. At school, Derek's bullying took on a new edge. His public defeat was a blow to his pride, and though he was wary, he grew more unpredictable, watching Maya with a mix of resentment and caution. But it wasn't Derek Maya feared anymore, it was the unseen threats lurking just beyond the edges of her life. One evening, Maya found herself cornered near her apartment by a figure cloaked in darkness. Her heart pounded as the stranger stepped forward, revealing a face both familiar and startlingly fierce. It was a woman, someone who claimed to have known her father intimately, someone who promised answers but warned of dangers yet to come. You are stronger than you realize, the woman said quietly. But strength alone will not be enough. There are secrets you must uncover, and enemies who will stop at nothing. The fight you started at school is just the beginning. Maya realized then that her life was no longer her own. She was part of a story far bigger than she had imagined, a story of legacy, betrayal, and courage that would test her every limit. And through it all, she vowed one thing, she would never back down. After meeting the mysterious woman, Maya felt lost in a fog of questions and fears. Who had been watching her? What secrets had her father hidden, and why? The weight of uncertainty pressed on her, but there was no turning back. At school, Derek's bitterness remained, yet he seemed cautious, unsure how to face Maya. Inside her, fear mixed with determination. The quiet girl who once tried to disappear now demanded to be seen, not just for her martial arts, but for the strength within. One evening, Maya got a call from the woman, "You are not alone. Your father's legacy is more than defense, it protects against those who mean harm. The path ahead is dangerous. Prepare yourself." Maya knew her fight was far from over. Bullying, secrets, shadows, they were part of a larger battle. She trained harder to defend herself and uncover the truth. The school changed from a place of fear to one of courage. Maya's story inspired others. She was no longer just the girl who silenced a bully, she became a symbol of strength, hope, and standing tall. Though the future was uncertain, Maya vowed never to back down. True strength is standing up for yourself and your truth.